There's a thin line between heroism and madness.
Here the line fades to nothing at all. This is a world of capes and lunatics.
And nothing is off limits.
Hello and good morning and welcome to the Capes and Lunatics. I am Phil, and as we said last week, Lilith is invading Canada as we speak, but here to discuss Jessica Jones Season 2, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and a bunch of other stuff is the professor himself.
Charlie, the professor. Yes, we got our tags back, and I didn't put my tag on the bottom yet, so
that's why he was dancing. He's like, tag him. Ooh.
Well, see, I was actually dancing because I was going to comment because it's a visual medium, Phil. You got to give people something to look at, and I realized I didn't even give them something cool to look at the bottom of my screen. So, my bad.
No.
I'm a bad professor, but that's why
everyone thinks you're Dr. Strange.
My color is green because I'm a supervillain.
Okay, well.
There you go. Okay. So, hey, Jessica Jones dropped.
Yeah, so spoilers, we're going to get into the first couple episodes because you said you saw the first three. I saw the first
three.
I saw the first five. So, yeah, we'll get into some spoilers. But, yeah, did you see? I mean, this drop. I started watching Thursday because this dropped Thursday instead of on Friday because International Women's Day.
Ooh, women!
And I believe they said all the directors of every episode were all women. So
okay, that's as we talked about last week, it's great to have women telling women's stories, but let's be honest here, women don't need to be ghettoized into women's films. I want women directing the next Iron Fist, please. Someone other than Scott Buck, please. Although, to be fair, this is something I do notice as we do these Netflix shows. They tend to have a very diverse, because I do read the credits every episode on our various podcasts. I do say who are our hardest working people in show business. And there are a significant number of female names jumping in there, Maybe not 50%, but you know what? Enough that you go, hey, there's another woman, there's another person with extra vowels in their name that, maybe Latinx, I don't know. And it's nice to see. And of course, this follows the very fine Marvel television tradition that started with The Incredible Hulk, which always had a number of female writers and directors behind the scenes. So, those of you who want to go back and listen to the old Gamma casts, they're still out there, folks.
And
waiting to be listened to.
And do you think this was like an answer to like DC's Patty Jenkins effect? Or like, oh, well, you have one female director? Well, we have, I don't know how many are on Jessica Jones, but we have multiple female directors.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think. I mean,
it doesn't hurt.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't think that Marvel is answering to DC.
They're not worried about DC.
Yeah, they're not sitting there saying, well, you think you're great, DC. DC's excited about Bendis, which tells you how far back in the past DC is living. Like DC is like, hey, it's like the early aughts.
It's 2002. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to really show my age and think that 10 years ago was the 90s. So, just to call a shelter here off and entrenching to Marvel is not answering to DC. The only, Marvel had their bad Inhumans, and because everyone has to have one bad. Although, man, I was thinking I was debating if I wanted to do a hate watch podcast called "Oh the Inhumanity." Where I just forced myself through it, and we just whoever would want to suffer through that with me.
That might be fun. I mean, just like Mystery Science Theater 3000,
Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh, do it as a live watch. Yeah. I could do a little riff track for it. That might be fun. That actually might be fun. Oh, the Inhumanity. Okay, watch for it, kids. Hey, write in. Let us know if you want to hear me and other people riff track on the Inhumanity of the Inhumans.
I mean, you can always even see if like you do like a rotating cast, like, maybe I'll do one or two, get Moz in there, see if
yeah, that might be fun. And it is on everything because gosh knows they're not going to make their money back on the deal. So they're like, hey, you want to watch it? Every time I pull up the ABC app, it's like, hey, do you want to watch Inhumans? It's like,
they'll probably send you like digital copies.
Really.
Like, here, please watch it.
Yeah. Yes. Oh gosh, it was so bad. I still haven't finished watching it. That's how bad it was. It's a Marvel. I stayed till the end of Josh Trank's Fantastic Four. I didn't walk out of Josh Trank's Fantastic Four. I walked out of the Inhumans.
That man watched Powerless and he can't even get through Inhumans.
Powerless was good. See, that's not a fair comparison. Because Powerless, maybe you didn't like it, but I did. So the fact that I enjoyed Powerless isn't about my ability to endure a bad program. More to the point. I endured Iron Fist, although I liked Iron Fist a bit too. I mean, Iron Fist was okay. I thought Iron Fist had its moments, and I still blame the Punisher for Iron Fist being bad. After Inhumans, maybe not so much. Maybe no, it really was just the creatives. But when I was watching Iron Fist, I had that ability to say, hey, the only reason why Iron Fist was bad was because they had to split the budget to make the Punisher.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're here to talk Jessica Jones. So
wait. Actually, one other thing, because you had mentioned Doctor Strange, I wanted to say you didn't tell me that we got a call out. We got a call out in Doctor Strange.
Oh, Damnation #2.
No. The first one.
Okay.
When they first deal the cards, and what does the first card tell Doctor Strange?
I forget. What did it say?
It said, "Don't get defensive."
Oh yeah. I thought of that when I read it, and then I forgot to tell you. Yes.
Don't get. And I was trying to my phone doesn't do like clippies where I can cut stuff out. So, I mean, it probably does. I just have no idea how to do it. But I'm getting a new phone today anyway. So, anyway, yes. So yeah, don't get defensive. It's now playing on Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks. Listen and let us know what you think. Are you defensive about it?
Well,
do you want to get defensive?
Well, the last episode went up this week, so Rob should be getting me some Punishers. So yeah, stay tuned for Punisher.
Yes. Yeah, and we just recorded I think the 6th episode, me and Maz last night. So we are golden on that.
And then after those, we'll hear some Jessica Jones too.
Jessica Jones, and okay, on to Jessica Jones. And what I think is the most important aspect of Jessica Jones so far is we've gotten our 4th version of the It's Patsy song. Now, for those of you who remember, I'm very fascinated by the It's Patsy song. For those of you who listened to the AKA Jones cast with everybody, that was great. It opens up our first introduction to the It's Patsy song, though we don't realize it until later, is actually in, I think it's the first episode of Jessica Jones with some dude in a bar who's hitting on Patsy. He goes, "It's Patsy! It's Patsy! I really want to be your friend." And he does this very kind of kind of thrasher thing, which is indicative of his character. Now, later in that episode, we see Jessica Jones sing the song to Morty, who we see again in episode 3, the corner. And when she sings it, she sings the version that I kind of reference in our AKA Jones cast, which is the "It's Patsy, it's Patsy, she really wants to be your friend," which is this very kind of bubbly, a jumpy thing. We also see in the original Jessica Jones series. Here, one second. Someone is blowing up my phone. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. Charlie Esser was talking before about, wanting a Gwenpool outfit, and I don't know, send us an outfit. Oh, maybe that rainbow dress Trish was wearing in Jessica Jones season 2. Maybe Charlie will sing the Patsy theme song wearing that dress.
Okay.
Always possible.
Sorry about that. Just shopping lists.
That's okay.
Everyone has a shopping list for me. Okay, let me plug this back in because this is also my Wi-Fi. Vault.
Seriously, who wouldn't want to see Charlie Esser singing "It's Patsy, it's Patsy"? So, Charlie, when you listen back to this, hit me up with a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you would do this. Come on, people. He said he would trust me. I know he did it.
The joy of domesticity. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay, yeah. I know, very unprofessional, me, Phil. I saw your lips moving. I'm guessing you were just saying, I cannot believe the unprofessionalism I have to put up with. I give this man a platform, and this is how he repays me.
I was asking the audience to send you gifts.
Gifts or gifts or gifs?
Gifts with a T.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always like gifts. Although we also like GIFs and gifts. So if you have anything that you want to put in there to help spread the sidekick message of Capes and Lunatics, feel free. You too can be an official Capes and Lunatics sidekick.
That's right.
That's our new fan club, the Sidekicks.
Oh, we should make up membership cards.
There we go, man. Just like the Merry Marvel Marching Society. Anyway, so we get our second version, which is the It's Patsy, from Jessica Jones. And then we get what is the actual version, because we actually get a clip from the OTV show, which is similar to what the first guy does, but a little more poppy, which is, it's Patsy, she really wants to be your friend, we hope it'll never end.
I wonder if maybe they change the style of the song like every season of the show, maybe?
Well, probably, because that was actually what I was going to get to eventually, after I did this whole dialogue about that. Because I'm sorry, there's a lot to unpack here, because it has to do with who's singing it and how it's being sung, and yes, the evolution of a character throughout the years. Now, in our most recent version, we see Patsy herself in red wig and glitter dress, totally glamming it up for a couple's kid's birthday party, because the kid really loves the TV show from 10 years before they were born.
Exactly.
And there she's singing it, and it's like, and there's this quietness and this nerviness to it, and almost like a karaoke. Kind of reminded me of that scene from Ghostbusters 2, where Ray and what's his name? And Winston have to do the kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna call? He-Man. And it was very much of that genre. Now, and what I wanted to unpack here is that you see how each person presents to the song something that they identify with it. So the douchebag kind of does this very douchebaggy version of "It's Patsy, it's Patsy." Jessica does this kind of half-remembered childhood song, much the way I do it, where it's like, it's almost like this, where you're coloring it by the idea of what you thought that show was that you never really saw, because she's giving it that very 50s Patty Duke sound. And then in our most recent one, we have just that awkwardness and difficulty of how you put yourself out there to get yourself where you need to be. And that presents itself as a pretty apt metaphor for the Patsy Walker story in general, and the idea of, as we see with her Me Too moment, or her Time's Up moment, where she's meeting up with Maximilian Tatum, which I'm sorry, that name just sounds like he's a pedophile. And what she did to get ahead, and here again, what she's doing to move forward with this cause of hers.
Well, not even like what she wanted to get ahead. What she said, she was 15. I don't know if I think it's in the episode you did. She said basically her mother pushed her to do that.
Well, yeah, her mother pushed her, and because the mother knew this is where the guy was, and knew this was a way to open the doors. And it is a bit of a Roman Polanski story there. But that doesn't excuse Maximilian Tatum or Roman Polanski. The idea that, hey, just because like Ray Moore says, hey, their mothers all approved of it, doesn't make it right.
No.
Anyway, moving right along. But I do like how the songs that we've gotten interact with everything. And that is like the first thing that jumps out at me. So, about this series. The other thing, especially the first episode, they are cram-packing in the fan service. Even to what I think is going to come back to butt us all in the butts before the end of the series. Did you notice who was listed as our special guest hypnotist in the first episode? We see him again with Jessica in episode 3 or possibly 2.
I missed it, but I did see an article. So is it the Ringmaster?
It is Maynard Tybalt himself. Maynard Tybalt, which is actually interesting because people had said, oh, they had the Ringmaster in Iron Fist, but actually they just had a guy who was the Ringmaster of the Fight Club. So they had him kind of dressed like the Ringmaster. So it's an interesting way but it's how they can play with these characters. So they can introduce one thing, and if that works, then maybe they can build off that. If not, then they can reintroduce the character elsewhere, like they did here with the Wizard.
Oh yeah.
Which, oh man, I love the Wizard. I love that he ran like a fat guy, even though he had super speed. Because it's just these very short steps, but he has that super speed, and it's like, I'm sorry, that was some 90s Flash special effects, and I loved it, and it was great. I love the Wizard. I am so sad. Spoilers for the outcome of the Wizard. Thought it was interesting to see that Jessica doesn't wind up adopting Emil. Was a little sad to see Emil not become more of a character in the story, but that's it. Emil is the mongoose.
Yes.
And again, that fan service about mongooses and the Wizard, because of course with the Wizard, because we all know how did the Wizard get his power?
Oh, didn't he get bit by a mongoose or something?
Radioactive mongoose bite, yeah. Actually, no, it was a blood transfusion from what I say to this day was a gamma irradiated mongoose, because they did make it was a green mongoose. It was a green mongoose, and they give him the mongoose blood, and that's what gave him his super speed powers. And that because that was the only cure for the cobra bite he got. And so that is in deepest, darkest Africa, man.
I mean, if Jessica adopts him, she's not taking care of him. What's the assistant's name? Malcolm?
No, yeah, I wanted something, but maybe they said, no, you know what, let Emil run free. And Emil provided a great distraction when she had to get away from the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, again, more fan service. What do we learn? What comes with great powers, Philip?
How do you put it? Great power. With great power comes great
mental illness.
Yes.
Which might explain why people with great powers keep on putting on weird costumes and jumping around the city. If nothing else, there might be an argument to make there for poor old Peter Parker and this, great power and great responsibility. Because, dude, you don't have to solve all the problems. Just because you have the proportionate strength of a spider doesn't mean you have to solve everything. And more to the point, maybe even you don't have to put on a silly costume to do it. Maybe you could just run around with, put on a uniform and not be a corrupt cop.
How bold would that be if Marvel put that out there, all their live action stuff where if you get superpowers, you kind of get some kind of mental issue. Jessica could be bipolar, other people can be, completely insane. There could be varying degrees.
Well, not for nothing. And here's my biggest thing about this, and it ties in greatly into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which we did get. We I don't know. They're saying this might be the last season. I don't know how many episodes we have left.
They said they're going to shoot the finale as if it's the series finale, but I guess they haven't heard either way.
Yeah. Well, they always say that. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think Marvel is going to let Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. die.
Do you think... I mean, maybe just to focus on other shows, especially if they get a digital, if Disney gets a digital platform going.
Well, if they get a digital platform, they need content.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing of it, is that that's the thing, and this is what we were talking about yesterday on Super Connectivity about digital platforms, and that need for something to justify its existence. You know, because that's the thing. It's like these shows, you know, and let me give you what I really think is the crux of the biscuit here. So, Amazon has a bunch of, you know, they have a bunch of Philip K. Dick stuff, which whenever anyone adapts a Philip K. Dick story, I'm like, you know that Philip K. Dick wrote short stories. These aren't actual adaptations of Philip K. Dick stories. These are as much adaptations of Philip K. Dick stories as any of the Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe films were adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe. You know, these were things that usually had like shared a title and some passing reference and character names. But after that, because it was just these short little stories that were written for pulp magazines in both counts, you know, there wasn't enough to make a movie out of. So they add in other stuff. They borrow stuff from other works of his and they throw it in there. And they put it in a blender and they say, it's a Philip K. Dick story or it's an Edgar Allan Poe story. And these are good stories. And these are good. I mean, I love me some Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe. But I am not sitting there saying, oh, you know, you can't be an Edgar Allan Poe fan based on it would be easier to be a Marvel fan based on the Marvel movies and say you're knowledgeable about Marvel characters from the movies than it would be to say I'm knowledgeable about Edgar Allan Poe based on the Vincent Price movies. So, but here's what I'm saying is, so they have these things. Each of these places have these things, but very few places have an expansive core the way that I think Netflix does. You know, maybe I'm just a Netflix guy and they're just hitting my buttons, but I gotta look at it like, okay, so I love The Tick. I don't think a guy who likes The Tick is necessarily going to be a guy who wants to watch Man in a High Tower. You know, I mean, I wasn't even that big of a fan of Blade Runner. I don't know if I'm going to go to the Electric Dreams thing they have there. You know, I know people love Blade Runner. I mean, I know Blade Runner's existence. I'm not saying Blade Runner is bad in any way. I've never really watched Blade Runner. Mm-hmm. I hear it's good. People liked it. They did a reboot of it recently. The kids today, actually, they didn't go see the Blade Runner reboot. But, you know, that's always your problem with Hollywood, where something will gain a cult status and they'll make $1 billion remake of it.
Yeah.
And then someone runs up, you know, the original actually didn't make that much money. You know, people like it, sure, and it's got this cult following, but it's not like it was ever a blockbuster. You know, but you know, everyone's always trying to make a Freddy Krueger. You know, which was something that did make a lot of money comparatively, and then built its franchise and continued to make money. Rambo did that. That was a thing from the 80s. In the 80s, I think you could get away with that. We could build out that franchise from low budget to ridiculousness and still have that arc of financial return. That's why the Terminator, I think the Terminators went downhill after they got rid of Arnold Schwarzenegger too. So, you know. Okay. We're all over the place here today, Phil. Ring me in. You're supposed to be the ringmaster.
Jessica Jones. Look into my hat. Look into my hat.
I need to get you the hat, Phil. We need to get you a hat.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think of what else.
See, this is what happens when I don't have my apple juice. Mm-hmm. I'm completely off the rails.
But what about Jerry Hogarth?
Jerry Hogarth. Yeah, that was actually, I really liked what we had with Jerry Hogarth. It was neat seeing what the diagnosis was, and actually, what's really fascinating about ALS is there is no reason for ALS to impugn her ability to be a lawyer. Yeah. ALS is a physical. It messes up your body, but it doesn't touch your brain. Generally speaking. I mean, you know, you can certainly have mental issues because of the difficulties of having ALS, but your brain is, generally speaking, as sharp as ever. You know.
Well, I don't know if you're at that point yet, but she goes to see the doctor and she's telling the doctor that I don't know if her father had that or something else, but her father had some kind of condition and lingered for 2 years and it wasn't pretty, and she's like, I don't want to be that.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it's not a pretty disease, you know. As an example, you know, Stephen Hawking's, well, actually, they're announcing he probably doesn't have ALS because he couldn't have lived this long on ALS. He has some other neuromuscular wasting disease. But again, likewise, for, you know, a person whose brain is still functioning at peak capacity,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's pretty good. And so from Jerry Hogarth's perspective, yes, it is not a pretty disease, especially if you have no one to care for you. That's the thing, you know, not, you know, Stephen Hawking's, between his wives, because he had one and then he upgraded later to a person who was actually his nurse. So, you know, but it would be a much harder life for him without those people who took care of him throughout his physical ailments, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the truth of any degenerative disease. You need that support structure. Not having that, not having a Foggy Nelson to lean on is very hard for her. And that's what her problem is she knows she doesn't have anyone that's going to be there with her at the end. And it's hard, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait till you get further in, man. She's
Mm-hmm.
get some ideas. But
Well, I can imagine. You're in a world with superpowers, you know, your immediate thought is, where can I get some of that gamma radiation? You know, where are they keeping those Vita rays?
that's kind of the track she's on, but not gamma though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's, you know, they don't talk up gamma in the movies as much as they probably should. They don't even talk up the Vita rays in the movie as much as they should. It's all vibranium now. Get this woman 2 tickets to Wakanda.
Oh, that's the other thing I saw on one or two people saying online. They're like, you know, after Bucky got all fixed up in Wakanda and Ever K. Ross, everyone's like, well, why didn't anybody think to send Rhodey there?
Well, Rhodey's problem. Well, first of all, Rhodey is a compressed spinal column, and we did see that he's getting physical therapy and showing progress.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact of the matter is that Rhodey's actually already getting top of the line treatment. What was wrong with Winter Soldier was actually purely psychological.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and honestly, whether or not Shuri did anything more than, you know, a Maynard Tybalt could have done is completely debatable, you know.
Yeah, but Ever K. Ross got physically.
Oh, Ever K. Ross. Yeah, well, Ever K. Ross. Well, yeah, well, that's nanites and stuff. But, you know, not for nothing. It's not like Stark knows about Wakanda yet.
Yeah.
You know, because
obviously Steve Rogers does. I mean, they could always slip a note somehow to Tony Stark or somebody and be like, "Hey."
Yeah, but you don't know. Okay, but so here's what it is. They don't know the extent of Wakandan technology. So I don't even think Steve Rogers knows the extent of Wakandan technology. He knows that
True.
Black Panther busted him out. You know, we don't know, even if they're going to say he had any kind of interactions with Wakanda in the 40s, you know, we don't know how much they revealed to him even then.
Yeah.
True. You know, really, the whole idea of Wakanda is nobody knew about Wakanda, even in the Marvel Universe, until the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Until basically Black Panther decided that it's time to come out and reaches out to the premier superhero group of the day, the Fantastic Four, brings them in to deepest, darkest Africa to show them the wonders of Wakanda and say, and now that I've proven myself to be the ultimate hero, I'm going to join you guys, you know. So, yeah.
Well, so I was gonna say, since we're speaking of Infinity War, did you see? I guess they dropped. Was it Entertainment Weekly dropped like a bunch of covers for it and like a bunch of details about the movie. I guess.
I don't get Entertainment Weekly anymore, so I don't know.
Well, I don't either.
I used to get it every week, but yeah,
it was all over the internet and stuff. But no, I guess Tony Stark. They're describing his armor as the bleeding edge armor. That's the one. Was it Fraction rating it? Where Tony Stark actually had, I don't know if they were nanites or something in his body, where the armor just like kind of popped out of his body.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
So I don't know if they're going
that
that
sounds like
route,
that.
but they're saying that's how they're describing it. And that's how it was described. And that's what they called it in the comics when he had that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, it's that, anything that lets the artist draw hexagrams, that's what they like.
And I guess Winter Soldier is going to go by that White Wolf code name.
Yeah, why not? It's. I don't know. Honestly, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sometimes the code names are weird. Although, again, another bit of fan service. Griffin Scrody sense.
What? Oh yeah.
Because his balls are tingling. His Scrody sense. They're throwing some shade over at the movies there on Netflix, I think.
Oh,
it's friendly shade though.
Yeah. Oh, and you saw Will Simpson.
Yeah, and short arc, but a neat one. Which actually, I loved the fact that he when they first show him, when they first give you him, and they focus in on his eyes, and it's like that red, white, and blue in his eyes. The bright red things, the blue irises. It was very cool. To the point where I was waiting for him to have a flag tattooed on his face. But he is actually not the villain of the piece. He is actually trying to be a good guy.
Yeah, because they're delving into the ongoing mystery of IGH.
Mm-hmm. Funny story about IGH. That is actually not uncommon. And I know this is a weird. There's a PR firm called IBW Ogilvy and Mather. Mm-hmm. And basically what IBW was it was a PR firm that wanted to be publicly traded. And one of the ways that you can become a publicly traded company is you buy a really small company that is technically publicly traded, and that way you don't have to go through the process of becoming a publicly traded company yourself. Mm-hmm. You just buy that other company, and then that company becomes your stock. And so this company that is basically a PR firm, their actual name means Industrial Basket and Wire, because they bought this little industrial basket and wire company. And so the idea of industrial garments and handling or industrial garments and haberdashery, I'm not sure what it was called, but the fact that some pharma firm bought this IGH company for public trading purposes, it's not impossible. You have that nice front cover for what you're doing too. But and that's what I thought of when I saw that. The other thing I thought of when we see our man made of meat, which aren't all people made of meat?
It kind of seems like it, yeah.
I was looking at it and thinking, are they getting a Deadpool in this? Mm-hmm. And not for nothing, that's how a Deadpool's supposed to look. His face is supposed to be like torn up meat. He's supposed to look like Freddy Krueger. He's not supposed to look like a guy You're
not supposed to see bone structure.
Yeah, really. He's not supposed to look like a bad case of acne. It's not a bad case of acne. It's not something that just needs a little Oxy-10. It's supposed to be a hideous monster. And so I'm waiting to see if we're going to get a Deadpool in this. Who knows? See, that's where I would say you might get some kind of reference. Maybe not even call him Deadpool, but or do what they did where they changed, like they've done with the Wizard and like they've done with Nuke, where they sort of change his name. So it's Robert Coleman, not I forget the name of the original Wizard, but it wasn't Robert Coleman. And you get these I think it was Frank something. Anyway, and you get these characters where their names are different, but you have a close enough reference to something, and maybe they can do that with Deadpool. So this will be like, I don't know, some weird name like Slade Wilson or something.
But no, that brings up something. I don't know if you're to that point, but Jessica is confronting a woman who has powers like her, except this woman's stronger than Jessica. Yeah. Did you catch the line where she asked her, she's like, why me? Why me? Why couldn't I die with my family? And I think the woman says something like, she had a certain set of genetics or whatever. So are they gonna go the Inhuman route, or are they waiting to see how this Fox deal goes, or are they gonna make Jessica a mutant or something?
Well, I'm thinking, look, everything about the story implies the Inhuman connection, going back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the resurrection on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that starts the entire Marvel television universe with Phil Coulson coming back. And that Kree technology, Kree genetics, and the Inhuman genetics. So, and again, what we see with the idea of that we saw with Coulson and Daisy, when they give Daisy the last of the home base formula, that Coulson starts to go a little nuts. Daisy doesn't.
Yeah.
Because Daisy was Inhuman. And we see this idea that when they give these people these powers, it causes this insanity because of some kind of bad interaction with the powers, unless you already have that Inhuman DNA, which allows you to have those powers stabilize. And that's what we're looking at here, is this idea of stabilization and moving towards the stabilization of powers, which comes to this idea of the Kree interaction. Now, of course, that comes back to the fact that, and again, this very interesting parallel with Jessica Jones dropping, just as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is covering this same territory, about Phil Coulson basically, they say, we could have saved you. We were in the future where we had that home-based protocol available to us again from the Kree, and we didn't use it. And Phil's basically making the point, he's like, maybe I don't want to just always come back from the dead.
Yeah.
Maybe I was meant to die there, and not for nothing, if you're going to dying a hero fighting Loki is a pretty good way to go. If not for nothing, they probably ripped that poor man out of Valhalla for that. You realize that Phil was probably sitting there at Odin's long table, and then they, no, come back here, Phil. We're not letting you go to Valhalla just yet. Because you get killed by a Norse god, you automatically go to Valhalla. We learned that in doesn't matter if you're not even Norse. It's just, sorry, that's the deal, man. The Valkyries got there first. Because that happened to Bill, and when the Asgardians made a deal with Doom, and Doom sends some Asgardian thugs to kill Bill, and Bill fights them and dies horribly. But because he dies valiantly, he goes to Valhalla. And then, of course, the woman who fell in love with him pines for him because she is still alive. And Doom was like, oh, what does it matter to you? You're immortal. He would have just been this, passing fling for you. And she's like, yes, I'm immortal, which means that the love I felt for him will haunt me forever. And she beats up Doom because
Marvel Comics presents Kill Bill.
Yes. Well, I'm just saying, Doom's a jerk, still is a jerk, but even if he wants to call himself Iron Man. Okay. Where were we?
Well, we were talking Jessica Jones, but is there any more?
Oh, that was the other thing.
What?
Yeah, Griffin Sinclair.
Yes.
I think that's a stage name. What do you think it's going to be revealed? His real name is Damon Hellstrom.
Ooh, maybe.
Because he did make a point about, putting himself in hell. Going through, as that reporter out there in the world, put himself through it. He made a couple of references like, that's clearly meant to make me think something. Now, that might just be a willful distraction, but I'm thinking she loves him. I mean, he's British, but everyone makes people from hell British for some reason.
I was going to say, hey, Lucifer.
He's not British in the comics.
Lucifer on TV has a British accent, hey.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, yeah, it's crazy they do that. They do that nowadays.
Hey, Sinclair.
Ah,
Sin, huh?
Yeah, there you go. It's less obvious than Damon Hellstrom.
Yes.
Yeah. Or Hellstorm, as they call him. Yeah. I'm gonna flip the R and the O in my name. That's my super secret hero name. But it's better than Bucky, whose name was Bucky and whose superhero secret identity was Bucky. They did a Legends revealed on that where they was like, did Bucky actually have a superhero name? And it's like, no, actually everyone just calls him Bucky, and then everyone calls Cap's sidekick Bucky, but no one makes the connection. People were dumb in comics in the Golden Age.
Oh my.
I'm just saying, no one could but it's the mask. It's a domino mask. Who could that be under there? It could literally be anyone. It's a domino mask. Those are completely concealing. Anyway. Do you think we're going to get Hellcat by the end of this?
Maybe something I saw, was it the last episode I saw? I saw something, so we might.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah, go ahead. You can spoil me.
You know that inhaler Simpson had?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of her past as, with addiction, but Patsy was sucking on that inhaler.
Oh, well, she already took the Reds.
Yeah.
So she's pumped herself up. Now, that's not... See, here's my thing, though. That's not Hellcat. That's not how... First off, that's not even how the cat got her powers. Because everyone forgets, Patsy Walker was the cat before she was Hellcat. Yeah. She only became Hellcat after her boyfriend or after her husband drives her insane. She commits suicide. She goes to hell, and then she comes back from hell. And now, of course, her mom was also involved with demons and whatnot in the comic books, too. Still waiting to see how that plays out. And I still say that Patsy's mom took over Hetty Wolf's body. And that Hetty's soul was put in the cat. In the comic book series. That they never resolved that before that series ended, because I don't know where they were going with that series. It was,
I don't know,
real frustrating, man.
Patsy's mom's pushing her towards Griffin Sinclair. She's like, "Oh, he's such a great guy."
Yeah. Well, he is the devil. So, and again, that's one more thing to make me think that that Griffin Sinclair and a griffin is a monster.
Yeah, and I mean, I think her mom even told her, she's like, "Hey, your clock's ticking. Get this. Marry this guy."
Yeah, well, but all moms say that.
Yeah, but I mean, if the mom's evil, she's pushing her towards Damien Hellstrom.
Yeah, well, but Griffin, it's a monster sin, so monstrous sin.
Oh,
there we go. We're gonna completely make this up now.
Nice.
But yeah. So yeah, but it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back. Jessica Jones is back. I'm still watching The Punisher. It's actually going really nicely. We had a great discussion on The Punisher. One of the things I loved about The Punisher is that there is this B story with a character named Lewis, who's, at least for the most part, completely separate, at least as far as we've watched, completely separate from the overall arc of The Punisher. And just that there is this character who isn't part of this weird, crazy, super bad guy spy thing. It's a human story in the middle of everything. I really love that, and that's pretty cool. So we're still watching Punisher. We're really loving it, and we're going to start Jessica Jones soon over on the Sidekicks feed. So make sure you're listening, kids. Got to click and subscribe. And that's still an audio podcast because I don't know how to do this Google Hangouts thing that Phil does. So
we can figure that out. I could maybe show you how to do that. But yeah, Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks. Check that out in Capes and Lunatics.
Yes. Anyway, what else is going on, Phil?
But did you want to talk any more about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Last night was the 100th episode.
Oh, well, that's cool. A little sad we didn't get Nightmare in there.
I know. I saw that that thing with the squid head. I thought, oh, is that supposed to be Nightmare? And I was like, nah.
No, that was Hive.
Yeah.
That was when I first saw Lash. I thought that was supposed to be Nightmare, but that was actually Lash. So it was just all of their fears from the past coming back, including a place with trees and worms, which continue to exist after the rift. I didn't quite get that So I didn't quite get what that was about. So.
Well, I don't know if it was going away slowly because didn't Coulson say, let's hurry this up.
Yeah, I know, and maybe some of these things are fading, and we've got the rift contained within the little gravitonium sphere, but it's only a temporary fix. So we'll see how long that lasts. We have to figure out what we can do with this.
Because maybe it takes longer to disappear because all the other fears were like actual, like, people.
Yeah,
and that was just like a big landscape.
Yeah. I'm not sure. You know what? We're not going to look too closely at it. We got a Simmons. We got a completely not legal Simmons Fitz wedding. So, it's a wedding, but there's no paperwork. So I don't think the director, the ex-director of a no longer existent clandestine organization, actually has the legal right to marry people in the United States. But they're not from the United States anyway. So who even knows? They're Brits and Scotsmen.
Well, it's more.
Which actually, Scotland is part of the United Kingdom. So.
I guess it's more symbolic than anything else. But yeah, because people marry on The Walking Dead, and it's like, what? Well, yeah. Well, maybe Coulson's ordained, but I don't think he can turn in the paperwork.
Well, I don't know. Is he still legally dead?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and then we find out that what's her name is the grandson of Fitz and Simmons. And he never met his grandparents, apparently.
Yeah.
It's very weird. Because none of that makes any sense timeline-wise. Because Fitz would have been frozen during that entire time. So...
Well, no, because he's out now, so years from now or pretty soon, Fitz and Simmons will have a kid, and then that kid will have...
In that timeline, when they disappear, he gets frozen. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm not sure how any of this works, but we're going to go along with it.
Well, I think they said, isn't it originally they still came back, but the Earth was still destroyed, though.
Oh yeah, I guess so. It's all good. Whatever it is, it's nice. And then he finds the ring that his grandmother used to wear in a pawn shop, which is, delightful. And had to find a ring that would fit his little girly fingers. Yeah, it's also time travel shenanigans. Yeah. This is why we can't have the X-Men back in the cinematic universe. They're warning us, people. They're trying to warn us. Don't do time travel shenanigans. They tried to warn us, but we wouldn't listen, Phil. We just wouldn't listen.
But I mean, I know it was all fake, but how intriguing was that when Coulson went down to confront the fear thing that looked like J. August Richards, and he's like, none of this has happened. You're still dying on the table. Yeah,
I know. And not for nothing, it is a perfect, speaking of Philip K. Dick, it is a perfect total, we can remember it for you wholesale kind of moment. Where it's like everything that was said could still be true. He could still be dying on the table. All of this could be completely separate from the larger Marvel universe. And it's all just Phil has been dead the whole time. That's why Lady Sif has never mentioned him. And,
Because
and the final episode is him on the table.
Oh, would people be mad at that? But I mean, the thing he was even making sense. He's like, well, what seems more plausible, that you're dying on the table, or you've time traveled, met Ghost Riders, been to the framework,
Yeah. Well, you know what, and here's what I'll say: you would agree with him up until the point where there are Hulks and Infinity Gauntlets.
Yeah.
And not for nothing. It's not like S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't already dealing with this stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's the secret of S.H.I.E.L.D., as I've said. That the secret of S.H.I.E.L.D. was that Hydra infiltration was as much symbiotic as it was parasitic. Mm-hmm. Because they both were charged with keeping a wraps on all the things that are out there. And then after the Avengers, basically the wraps come off, and then after Winter Soldier and the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., suddenly nothing is containing the craziness. And then you've got Jessica Joneses and Daredevils and Luke Cages running around. Even Iron Fists occasionally. What are you gonna do?
I can't wait to see season 2 of Iron Fist just to see what it becomes without Buck.
Oh, I just hope it's more Gal. The one thing that was the real redemption of that series was Gal.
Mm-hmm.
Gal really made Iron Fist a good series, and Gal made Defenders a good series.
Yeah,
Gal is great.
Yeah, I heard you and Moz talking about how Gal was like one of the best villains to come out of that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Gal is really. I want Gal's origin story. I want Gal in the comic books. I want to. If they put out a series called Gal, The Legend of Gal, I would buy that book. I would buy The Legend of Gal, leaving Kunlun, founding the Hand, and everything that Gal does to be Gal, to be the ultimate long-lived, long planner. And that's what I loved about Gal the most, is that she's like the one person who is immortal and treats things like being immortal.
Mm-hmm.
She's not sitting there running after some petty vendetta or trying to give her life meaning. Her life's meaning is that she's alive. She actually internalized, to a grand extent, the idea of immortality, and the idea that if you are immortal, these temporary distractions don't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm immortal and I'm going to outlive this, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm not going to spend my time hunting bears, because that's a silly waste of my time to hunt bears, because the bear's going to kill me? Bear's probably not going to kill me. I'm going to kill the bear, and if I'm going to kill the bear, what is the point of fighting the bear?
Mm-hmm.
I can surround myself with no acolytes. Why? They're mortals. They will live, they will die. Their accolades aren't that meaningful to me. Wealth and power are nice because I still need a place to live. But if I don't have them, I'll still live. She is the perfect encapsulation of the dark half of the yin and yang. She is the darkness, but she is also very zen. To completely anglicize a deep and meaningful Eastern term that I will use wrongly, I'm sure. But the idea that she is balanced. And in her interactions with the Iron Fist, you see that, and you see that perfect representation of the devil. How she is not lying. She is not presenting things falsely, but she is presenting the universe through her vision darkly. And says, this is what the world is. The world is as I see it, and that is the world. And I'm just being honest with you and telling you this is how you should interact with it. And it doesn't matter if you have a different perspective. This is her perspective, and she's honest and right about it. And she is. Gao is great. Gao is a fantastic villain, and I hope we get more of Gao in Iron Fist. I hope we get more of Gao in everything. I'll tell you right now, Jessica Jones could use a little Gao. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt the show. But and I still say, you watch Maynard Tybalt. He's more involved in all this than you think.
Oh my God, I would love to see Jessica Jones versus the Circus of Crime.
Oh yeah. Well, I got the feeling that at the end, he's going to escape, and says, and like, what do we do? I don't know. Maybe I'll join the circus. Bum, bum. I wanted that to be his last line there. But
or the Defenders versus the Circus of Crime.
The Circus of Crime is great. And honestly, not for nothing, the idea of Jessica Jones even going to a hypnotist, it seems really unlikely to me, given her history with the Purple Man. But
Oh yeah.
The last thing she wants is get more into mind control. But maybe and makes me see what I would actually love to see is the idea of how hypnotism can, because there is what's his name, Ultraman, I think his name is, and where basically he was hypnotized to unlock he was hypnotized to overcome his pyrophobia, though he still has pyrophobia because that's his weakness, but he unlocked his unlimited human potential, and he's sort of like a Superman character. I would love to see, Tybalt doing that to somebody, just unlocking the powers with your mind. Because that would be cool to say, it is all mind over matter, and tying into all these other things that we deal with, like Doctor Strange, like everything else. And where was Doctor Strange when someone opened up a doorway to the nightmare dimension? Sorcerer Supreme, aren't you supposed to be on top of these things? Aren't you supposed to be watching incursions like this?
We don't know the timeline yet. Maybe Infinity War is going down as at that point.
And I would just love it. It's like, I would just love someone in the middle of Infinity War goes, somebody's opening up a door to the nightmare dimension on Earth. Okay, they took care of it.
Charlie Esther stands up in the theater. Yes!
Yes. I would love that. I would love to see that. Anyway. But yeah, so Doctor Strange shot on the ball. I think we can all agree to that. And if nothing else, like I said, so here's what I'm going to tell you. If they end this series with Phil on the table, because not for nothing, I think they're going to reference back to this moment several times. Because the Nightmare Ball still exists. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the end of the season and the end of the series is Phil on the table flatlining. And you can end it there, and it leaves, like I was saying about the Tick the other night, it leaves everything tied up, and yes, people are going to get enraged and mad, but you're also going to be in there saying, wait, did that actually end, or is it still open for something else? Because maybe that's the dream, you know?
I mean,
is the dream?
They could go that way, because I think there was an article saying supposedly they're going to tie up the whole, they're going to address the whole about the Avengers knowing or not knowing that, you know, Coulson's alive and stuff. So maybe that's it. They'll be like, yeah. He died. He's not alive. That's why they don't know it, because he died on the table.
Yeah, or they just always knew. As I said, you know, that was an interesting thing that I noticed, because in the first episode, when he says "Welcome to Level 7," if you look at Cap's file, you see that he has Level 7 clearance in S.H.I.E.L.D. Because that Cap had the clearance to know that Coulson was alive, and of course, so did Black Widow. Of course, so did Nick Fury. I always thought it would be really funny if the only person who didn't know was Tony Stark. But then I actually think that when Tony Stark, because they make the mention when he's on the table, Stark says, you know, spare no expense. You know, maybe Stark knows too. Maybe they all know that it was like that moment, and then everyone else was like, "Oh, okay, so Phil's still alive." Okay, and then it's like, you know, well, he doesn't want to tell us. We shouldn't, like, you know, tell him, you know. And like, I was hoping that in Infinity War he shows up and everyone's like, "Oh, hey, Phil."
Just like a 2-minute appearance. Come on, put him in Infinity War.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be great. And the only person who doesn't know him is the Hulk. Who is Little Man? I don't know. Hulk not know Little Man. But Hulk has a desire to wear suits and move to Vegas. It'll happen.
I want that. I want that Vegas plot.
We all want that Vegas plot. We all want Joe Fixon in Vegas. That was, you know. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't on board with Joe Fixit when it first came out, and I did write Peter David a nasty letter at the time. I did.
No wonder he called you a dumbass.
Yeah, well, he's known it for years, honestly. I wrote that guy a lot of letters over the years, so I'm sure he was like, oh, that guy again? Yeah. Yeah, I was not a fan of the Vegas plotline when it first came out, because first off, we just went through this whole thing. And what it was the end of the McFarlane art era. I was not a fan of the new artist at all. You know, and for what it's worth, it was just such a departure from what McFarlane had done as an artist to this new line, and it was just too. Yeah, it was not what I was feeling. And then I was like, you know, the Hulk as a leg breaker in Vegas, I didn't get it. It grew on me. And of course now, you know, the Joe Fixit character is an iconic character, but you know, at that moment when they first brought it back, especially after the whole death of the Hulk storyline,
it was so interesting too, because it was a complete reversal of the theme. You know, this time the Hulk had a life, and he was worried about Banner coming out and ruining his life.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's cool. Although, truth be told, I don't think that was ever separated from me, and that was something that they had dealt with before. Then was this competition between when it was the Hulk and Banner because they'd gone back to the thing where he was only becoming the Hulk at night.
Yeah.
And so it was this thing where, they were competing against each other. And there was one of my favorite episodes at that time is, the Hulk basically breaks into a liquor store to get himself drunk so that when he turns back into Banner
can't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, Banner's just passed out drunk the whole day. So yeah. It's just, because they work against each other. And I love when they do that as a plot line of the two working against each other. And I'd love to see more of that in Infinity War and wherever we go next with the Hulk. Because they're not letting Mark Ruffalo off the hook just yet. And they just got to figure out what to do with him. It's like, oh, we've got this great potential here. What do we do? It's like Gal. It's great potential, but what do you do with her?
Well, didn't they say they were doing like a trilogy with him, but with just in other people's movies?
Yeah, and I guess they're doing something like that. They're doing something. I don't know, something. Yeah, I like what they're doing with the Hulk. I really love Ragnarok as a concept. I would have loved had they been the Defenders, but just went with the Avengers. Maybe we should defend. I know I would love if they play that out a bit more. Like maybe we should be defending something. Instead of avenging or revenging, we should defend. We're going to defend Asgard. We're the defenders of Asgard. Yes. So they got Valkyrie, except they didn't bring Strange in. That was annoying. And again, where is Doctor Strange when we're dealing with Darkholds and Ghost Riders and Nightmare Dimensions?
Maybe he's preparing for Thanos.
Yeah, well, or maybe it's like, no, you guys had it. No, I could see it. It was a really tiny crack into the Nightmare Dimension. Do you know how many cracks to the Nightmare Dimension there are on this planet? Go to any Californian public high school. There's a helm out there.
They're gonna say there's crack there.
No, I was gonna say because I was making a Joss Whedon reference.
I know, Buffy. I know.
Yeah, I see. Because it's all part of the Whedonverse now. It's all connected, Phil.
All right, there was like two more things I wanted to hit. One's comics, but there was one thing in the news. Did you see they've confirmed a villain for Wonder Woman 2? It's the Cheetah. Did you see who's playing Cheetah?
Oh no, who's playing Cheetah? Halle Berry.
Kristen Wiig.
Oh, okay.
Which I find weird. I'm
sure she'll be good. I mean, she's a talented actress. I'm not saying Kristen Wiig couldn't do it, but I'm just like.
I mean, you don't have to like typecast people, but yeah, everything I know her from is like comedy. So
people can do that comedy, and who can do comedy can do other things. I'm not thinking Kristen Wiig as a cheetah.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing her as that. First of that physically dominating presence. Now maybe they're going to do that. Maybe they're going to put her in. Maybe they're going to Chris Pratter. Get in that gym, Kristen Wiig. You got to be a Wonder Woman now. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Just to have her doing the ab pics, like and the workout in the gym.
Plus, I wonder if there's going to be a bunch of CGI involved too.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe when you're
like if they actually like mutate her. So I don't know if she's just gonna be wearing like a cheetah suit or if she's just gonna like actually.
I want her in the spandex costume with the little ears,
like the Super Friends.
I want her in the I want it. Super Friends Cheetah. I was hoping for Halle Berry, but what are you gonna do? That woman can rock a cat costume. That's all I'm saying.
Rip it up.
Yes. Yeah. So that's cool. I mean, I guess like I said, I mean I'm willing to give them whatever they're going to do with Wonder Woman. I think Cheetah's a rough character to do in general because she's a woman in a cat costume.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if they're actually going to like mutate her or something.
Yeah, they probably will. I think you would have been better doing Giganta or something like that. Just have her fight a giant gorilla. I think gorillas are fun to fight. And Andy Serkis needs work. They killed his character in Marvel, so man can play a giant gorilla. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else. I don't know. Do you think maybe they just wanted like a female villain this time, especially since we got Ares last time?
I guess so. Although we also had Dr. Poison. So,
Yeah, but like you said,
Yeah.
Giganna would have worked. But I just wonder if that would have been like a CGI hassle though.
No, giant people always are. Giant people never look right. You can do a small person, you can't do a giant person. Giants never look right. Anytime they try to make someone giant, even giant Ant-Man didn't look good.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And that was like for 3 seconds of giant Ant-Man.
Yeah, and if you got Giganna as like the villain, I mean, you like half the movie you're expect her to be big, and if Marvel had trouble with that, imagine DC.
Oh God, help us. So we'll see what they do. But yeah, Cheetah's fine. Does Wonder Woman have any other villains?
I wish Lilith was here.
Cersei I know is a villain of hers, and Cersei would have been cool. Although maybe they didn't want to go the Greek myth route again.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want to go like the mystical route again. They wanted to go with like an actual.
Yeah, but she's got to have like some kind of super scientist villain somewhere in there.
Oh, who's that? There's like a little dwarf guy. He's like an evil scientist guy.
Is it Mesmero or?
Oh,
he's got like a hypnogun or something.
Is it Dr. Psycho? Is it something?
Dr. Psycho. And you know what? And you could make a female Dr. Psycho. You can do that. You can do a gender swap.
Mm-hmm.
You want it to be a female? You want a female villain? Then just take one of her male villains. Make it female. Done and doneer. Dr. Psycho, and give some nice dwarf actress some work. Because you think about it, every time they cast a dwarf, it's almost always a male.
Yeah.
Just tossing that out there, kids. Yeah. So anyway, that is what it is. It's just the phone. I'm ignoring it. I know who it is. Anyway.
Last thing I was gonna say, Amazing Spider-Man 797 Go Down Swinging Part 1.
Oh wow. Almost 800.
This is interesting because as everyone should know, Norman Osborn has the Carnage symbiote. He's already bonded with it.
Yeah.
So he's like trying to put. I guess he was trying to figure out Peter Parker's identity. He saw Spider-Man leaving Mary Jane's apartment, and he's trying to piece all this stuff together. And they show he has like a hostage, but they don't show it for most of the issue. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the issue, like Norman's saying he's going to destroy Spider-Man and stuff, and his hostage says, "You can't break him." He's like, even he survived even the worst night of his life when you threw his girlfriend off the bridge. And Osborn says, "Wait, what? His girlfriend off the bridge?" He's like, because remember after that whole one more day thing, and Norman forgot his identity. He's like, "Wait, Peter Parker, Spider-Man." He's like, "I remember." He goes, "Thank you." He turns to the hostage. He goes, "Thank you, Jonah."
Yes.
Osborn.
Bum.
So everyone's like, "Oh, are they going to kill? Is Slott going to kill off J. Jonah Jameson?"
Maybe. I don't know. You're supposed to put all your toys back in the box before you leave a series, though. It's very rude if he's not. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, you can do. I mean, maybe he can get permission to kill J. Jonah Jameson. But honestly, if someone's going to die, kill poor old Aunt May. She's lingered so long.
Seriously, kill Aunt May.
Even though she's getting younger.
That brings that Mephisto deal, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was my whole problem with One More Day. It's like, okay, you're gonna sacrifice your marriage and make a deal with the devil to save this elderly woman who, I mean,
who's had a heart problem since the 1960s. Let's be honest here.
I mean, they kind of killed her off in the Clone Saga in the 90s, and then they like kind of retconned that, like, no.
She was in Europe, Well, they kill off people and bring them back all the time in Spider-Man.
It was like
that's really the place where people. I mean they're really the ones who have that bad habit of killing people and bringing them back.
Who, Marvel?
No, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because Aunt May has died at least once. I know that. Osborn has died so many times. Even Harry Osborn.
But I was going to say, both Osborns have been.
Yeah, and like Harry's not even like, oh, he's got Goblin Serum, and Goblin Serum makes you all superpowered and whatnot.
Well, when they killed Harry in the 90s, he was rocking the Goblin Serum, which it was like a different version, but it made him like wacky. But I mean, they kept him dead, and then once they did the Brand New Day thing, they were like, "Oh yeah, he's alive. He was just in Europe, just like Mormon was."
Yeah. So maybe that was just all. It's all part of Mephisto's thing, Well, Mephisto's always trying to bring evil people back from the dead. That's his thing. More evil. Though that doesn't make sense because his job is to punish evil people. I think Mephisto's just not good at his job. Marvel is full of villains not good at their job, like the Punisher.
He had the whole town in Las Vegas when Doctor Strange had to bite his nose in.
And that whole thing doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. There are good people who live in Vegas.
Exactly. I mean, there's the people who work there aren't good,
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Not for nothing, yeah. You're going to tell me there's not one hooker with a heart of gold in Las Vegas?
I mean, I was even like blackjack. There's no good blackjack dealers or bartenders. It's
yeah, no, really, yeah. It was. Although maybe that's going to be a whole thing that Mephisto is lying.
Maybe
that the whole city of Las Vegas wasn't in hell. That the Mephisto, because honestly, I actually think that what the end of Damnation is going to be is that Doctor Strange actually didn't bring Las Vegas back. That he couldn't. That it was, it was. That there's too much of a cost, that you don't get to bring a whole city back. You don't get to resurrect people from the dead like that. That's not how things work. In fact, what I'm going to say is only the people that actually did go to hell got brought back.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, see, the whole thing. I think there's, and not for nothing, like I was going to say, the whole idea of the casino in the realm of the dead, that wasn't new. That was something that they'd already done in The Incredible Hercules. So, you don't trust Mephisto when he gives you, because nothing Mephisto shows you is real. It's all just images that communicate to your feeble human brain. This is how you can understand things. So, I think that Doctor Strange is going to fail at the end of Damnation. Because you can't just bring everybody back from the dead. It doesn't work that way. And there has to be a cost to living in a world with superheroes. And that's a cost. Because with great power comes great mental illness.
Exactly. All right. Should we wrap that up here?
Let's wrap it up, Phil.
All right.
Good to go.
If anyone wants to get a hold of us, Capes and Lunatics, or the Capes and Lunatics sidekicks, we love hearing from you. capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Both shows are on Facebook, on Twitter, @CapesLunatics and @CL Sidekicks, and our voicemail for everything, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Charlie Esser, where can people find you?
Well, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our ma's and pa's once did. Even I once did to Peter David when he had his Hulk run, and that's when he first learned I was an idiot. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet things, which I didn't do last night because I wasn't sure where I was when I was watching this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But by next week, I'll be ready to live tweet it again. I got my TV working. I got everything going well. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieSSER. Look for the two E's in the middle for quality. That's how I changed the song to represent where we are in the cycle of the story.
Oh, new season.
New season, maybe. Yeah, they did that with Mary Tyler Moore, too. You watch it like the first season and then later seasons, they do change the theme song and the intro a lot. So, okay. That's all I got to say, Phil.
All right. Well, then for another week, we should have our little Hellfire back next week. But until then, we have been the two of us, the Capes
and
the Lunatics.
There we go. We don't have a little, so I have
say,
to do double duty. The ampersand. I should have been the and and the, and then you be the Lunatic.
It took two of us to be Lilith Hellfire.
Yes. It's chaos without you, Lilith. Come back to us.
Chaos with you, it's chaos without you.
But it's the worst kind of chaos without you.
It's guided chaos when she's here, yes.
Yes. She is our beacon in the night.
Well, this was good because I don't know how big she is on Jessica Jones. Like the first season, I don't know if she was that impressed. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. She's not a Marvel fan. She's not a DC fan. She's not even an Archie's fan anymore. She's just full of bitterness and anger.
She is our Jessica Jones.